It was Christmas Eve, and I was trying to squeeze in a few final deliveries to afford a decent dinner the next day. The snow was falling lightly, and all the houses had these beautiful, twinkling lights. It felt peaceful, until I got to the last house on my route. This customer had ordered a huge holiday meal from a local catering place. Roast beef, mashed potatoes, all the fixings. I pull up to this house with a Santa inflatable on the lawn and a wreath on the door. I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a quick, polite holiday handoff. I ring the bell, and the door flies open. Not a festive sight bell. It's a guy, maybe in his 50s, wearing an ugly Christmas sweater, and he is furious. Before I can even wish him a Merry Christmas, he shoves his face right up to mine. This is cold. The roast is ruined. Do you know what you've done to my family's Christmas Eve dinner? I tried to apologize, explaining the restaurant delay, but he wasn't hearing it. This is unacceptable, he screams. He steps back into the hallway, which is decorated with tinsel and fairy lights, and reaches down beside a giant decorated pine tree. My blood turns to ice because he doesn't pull out a gift. He pulls out a pump-action shotgun. He holds it casually right next to a smiling ceramic reindeer glaring at me. He just stands there, silent now, letting the implication hang in the air, framed by flashing colored lights. I didn't move. I slowly placed his cold Christmas dinner on the welcome mat next to a gift-wrapped box. I muttered, "Happy Holidays," backed away without turning around, and literally ran to my car. I drove away through the falling snow, realizing I'd almost been shot over a tepid roast beef. The contrast between the festive lights and that terrifying weapon still haunts every Christmas I spend. New Year's Day, 3 a.m. A huge snowstorm has made the roads treacherous. I accepted a high-paying delivery for a medical supply kit to a remote street. The GPS kept rerouting me to this single, overgrown dirt road that wasn't paved. It was pitch black, and the snow was too deep. I called the customer, but the line was just static. Finally, the app displays a message not from the customer, but as an official alert. Delivery required now. Ignore detours. I went down the dirt road. The house was completely dark. The address number on the mailbox was correct, but the house itself looked abandoned. Windows boarded up, no tire tracks in the snow. I take the mandated proof of delivery photo. As I review the photo, I see the light on my phone screen reflecting in one of the windows, and I realize the reflection isn't me. It's a tall, thin figure standing right inside the window just behind the glass, watching. It has no discernible face, just a slick, dark shape. I panic, but before I can drop the bag, the app screen flickered violently, displaying a massive full-screen message, "Delivered. Don't look back." It forced the delivery complete. When I tried to call support, the app glitched again, and the map showed a blank white space where the house should have been. The entire street, the house, the trees, the snow had vanished from the map, as if it had never existed, except for that photo on my phone. A late Sunday night, I took a high-value order for 4 cheeseburgers and shakes from a diner supposedly open 24/7. The diner was way out in a mostly abandoned industrial district. It was an old-school place with neon lights, but the open sign was flickering rapidly. The inside was empty except for a lone cook behind the counter. He was wearing an old, dirty uniform, and his eyes were dull and red. He handed me the bag, which felt strangely heavy and greasy, and then he just stared. I drove to the customer's location. I handed the bag to a silent, pale man who paid in crumpled, ancient-looking bills. I drove back toward the city, but after 15 minutes, I passed a turn and saw it again. The exact same neon-lit diner, same flickering sign, same industrial area. It felt impossible. Thinking the GPS was wrong, I kept driving, but then I got a new order alert. The exact same 4 cheeseburgers and shakes from the same diner going to the same pale man. This repeated 3 times over 2 hours. Every time I drove away, I found myself circling back to the diner, the pale man waiting and the tired cook watching me. It was like I was trapped in a tiny loop of greasy food and tired misery. The last time, I refused to go inside. I canceled the order and sped out, and the image of that flickering neon sign and the cook's vacant stare is all I see when I close my eyes. A busy Friday night, I picked up a passenger and the DoorDash order at the same time for a joint delivery and rideshare trip. I picked up the DoorDash bag and then the rider, a small, quiet guy named Mark. He was supposed to be dropped off first. Everything was normal until we hit the highway. Mark pulled out his phone and it was displaying my entire DoorDash driver profile, my ratings, my delivery count, and most unsettlingly, my home address listed under emergency contact. He cleared his throat. "You know," Mark says, "my neighbor has that last name." I tried to laugh it off, but he continued, his voice soft. "She's always getting deliveries late at night. Maybe I should start taking rides at night. You guys see a lot, right? You know when houses are empty. You know when people are alone." The rideshare map showed we were only a minute from his drop-off, but suddenly he reached over and hit the DoorDash app on my mounted phone. The screen flashed, and the next destination was updated not to the food customer, but to my own house. He hadn't touched the rideshare app, only the DoorDash app. He smiled then, a small, knowing smile. "Just a little detour," he said. I slammed on the brakes, yelled at him to get out, and he slid out of the car silently, holding the DoorDash bag that was now technically going to my own address. I called the police and support, but I haven't been able to sleep at home since. It was New Year's Eve, around 1:30 a.m. I had picked up a late order for a single bottle of cheap champagne and a pack of chips, clearly someone's last-minute party desperation. The house was far out, nestled deep in the woods, and there wasn't a single firework or party noise anywhere near. The road was slick with frost. As I approached, my phone rang. It was the customer. His voice was smooth, almost too calm. "I see your headlights. Listen, I'm alone tonight. All my friends bailed. I just really need some company to ring in the new year. Don't just leave it at the door." My stomach twisted. This was more than human contact. This felt like an invitation I couldn't refuse. I parked, reluctant to get out. The house was dark except for the porch light. He stepped out, silhouetted against the light, tall, thin, and smiling strangely. I walked up cautiously. "Happy New Year, sir. Here's your order." He didn't take the bag. He kept staring at me with that unsettling, wide grin. "I told you I wanted company," he said. Then he reached into his winter coat pocket. I thought maybe he's tipping me a 20 for the holiday delivery. Instead, he pulled out a wicked-looking butterfly knife. In the dim light, he started flicking it open and closed, the steel blade clicking loudly, a sharp counterpoint to the absolute silence of the woods. "It's a new year," he whispered. "Let's make some new memories." I didn't wait. I dropped the champagne and the chips, turned on my heel, and scrambled back to my car. I tore down that icy driveway, watching my rearview mirror until his isolated porch was just a speck of light. I spent the first few hours of the new year calling DoorDash support, terrified and shaking. The thought of that guy alone in the woods, flipping a knife while the rest of the world celebrated, is the creepiest memory I have of any New Year's Eve. It was the lull right between Christmas and New Year's, One of those quiet days when everyone is home and orders are sparse. I delivered a small, sad-looking order to a guy, a single pizza and some wings. He seemed lonely, didn't say much, just took the pizza. About 20 minutes later, I got a message through the DoorDash app. "That was quick. You look really cute in your beanie." Immediately, I felt sick. I didn't reply. Then my personal phone rang. It was a blocked number, but the dread was instantaneous. I ignored it. He messaged again. "I know you saw me call. Don't be rude. Maybe we can grab a cup of holiday cheer together." I sent a polite but firm reply saying I was working and to please stop messaging me. That's when the holiday theme turned sinister. His next message read, "Fine, you won't answer? That's too bad. I know you live on Elm Street. Maybe I'll just drop off a late Christmas card in person." My blood ran cold. Elm Street. He had seen my address somehow. I immediately drove home, convinced he was already there, watching for me. I spent the rest of the night peering through the blinds. The image of him, a lonely customer with my address, threatening a late Christmas card, turned the cozy Christmas lights outside my window into sinister warning beacons. The scariest thing about the holidays isn't the cold, it's realizing a complete stranger knows exactly where you sleep. It was New Year's Day. Everyone was inside, recovering from the night before, so the neighborhood was silent. My order was a massive amount of food, mostly just strange appetizers and, again, tons of fries. The address was in a wealthy, quiet cul-de-sac. I recognized the house immediately, a huge, beautiful home, but with all the blinds drawn. I had delivered a similar huge, odd order there just 2 days earlier. 2 gigantic orders, mostly junk food, in 3 days. Weird. I rang the doorbell. I waited. I tried calling the customer. No answer. I heard a faint sound from inside. It wasn't a party or even a TV. It was a low, animalistic sound, a deep, resonant moan, almost like a goat or something much larger, followed by a shuddering inhale. It was unnerving. The delivery instructions were clear. Leave at door. I tried the knob. Unlocked. I pushed the heavy oak door open slightly, just enough to put the massive bags inside. The foyer was almost completely dark, but I could smell a faint metallic scent and something musty. As I placed the food down, I heard the sound again, louder this time, a distinct, high-pitched "bah" that immediately descended into a rattling, guttural cough. It was definitely coming from the second floor. I froze. I didn't dare look up the massive staircase. I quickly snapped a picture, backed out, and shut the door silently. As I walked to my car, I glanced at the porch. Someone had left a small, neatly wrapped gift box right on the railing. It wasn't for me. It was addressed to the resident with best wishes. Who leaves a present on New Year's Day for someone who sounds like a mournful, distressed animal locked inside? I drove away fast, leaving the dark house, the strange moaning, and the unsettling gift behind. I never want to know what was upstairs or what kind of best wishes that package contained. It was a freezing winter night, and I was driving down a very remote highway to deliver a bag of late-night convenience store snacks. The air was crisp, and I was actually humming Christmas carols to myself to pass the time. It was a straight shot to the customer's remote cabin. Suddenly, a car came roaring up fast behind me. It wasn't just a speeding car. I could hear their music blasting even over my radio, a horribly distorted version of Jingle Bell Rock. As the car flew past me, the music was deafening. I glanced over. The passenger rolled down the window and I saw a flash. Then I heard it. 2 distinct, shattering cracks. Gunshots. They weren't aimed at me necessarily, but they were fired near me. The sound was amplified by the cold, quiet night. I slammed on the brakes, swerving dangerously on the icy road. My ears were ringing. The car with the loud music and the shooter sped off, disappearing around a bend. I pulled over, heart hammering against my ribs, convinced I had been hit. I checked my car. There was a slight chip in the back window, maybe from a stray pellet or just road debris, but the message was clear. Someone had just fired a weapon randomly on a deserted road while listening to Christmas music. It was terrifyingly senseless. That quiet, festive drive instantly turned into a nightmare. I finished the delivery because I was too shaken to move, but I drove the rest of the way in silence, every shadow and every noise making me jump. The holidays are supposed to be safe, but that night proved that chaos doesn't take a vacation. It was the day after Christmas. I was just taking one last order before shutting down for the night. A carton of milk delivered at midnight. The address led me down a winding, icy path to a dilapidated farmhouse surrounded by deep, unforgiving snowdrifts. The yard looked like a disaster zone, half decorated with broken plastic reindeer and tangled Christmas lights. I found the gate. Instead of a normal sign, a piece of cardboard stuck to the wire read, "DoorDash, welcome to our winter wonderland," with a poorly drawn, demonic-looking Santa. Not reassuring. I walked up to the house. I knocked on the door, which was painted a festive but peeling red. After a long silence, a small woman peeked out. She looked confused and disoriented, clutching a tiny, trembling dog wrapped in what looked like a tattered piece of tinsel. She began making a high-pitched, mournful sound, like she was weeping but couldn't quite cry. Suddenly, a large hand pulled her away. An old man appeared. He wasn't wearing pajamas or robes, just a pair of dirty, threadbare white boxer shorts, and he was shivering. He just grabbed the milk from my hand, his eyes dead and vacant, and slammed the door without a word. Then the yard came alive. From around the neglected barn and the campers, dozens of tiny, enraged dogs, mutts of every size, came boiling out. They started yapping and swarming me, their breath steaming in the cold air. They were everywhere, nipping at my boots, howling like a demonic choir. I shouted, stumbled back onto the icy path, and just bolted to my car. As I sped away, I caught a glimpse of the old man in his underwear, standing perfectly still in the dark window, watching me leave, surrounded by the remnants of a failed Christmas celebration. It felt like I had just witnessed a strange, disturbing holiday ritual.